This ain't nothing but trouble coming to my place now.
Anything? I know this one.
Say, man, you seen this girl?
I ain't seen shit.
No, you haven't seen this girl. Hey, Skifu. How you doing? Saco de tiempo. You seen this girl?
Oh, man, you know, I quit messing with that stuff. I ain't into this shit anymore.
You ain't into? What are you into?
Man, why don't the fuck you assholes leave me alone? I paid your boy off Monday night.
My boys, huh?
Yeah, now take some of that fucking money and go buy your mama a condominium. Get out of my fucking life.
I thought this was a kosher bar, man. No pork allowed.
Say, man, you seen this girl?
I seen the top of her head.
Yeah, that was his head.
That's good.
Hey! Come here.
Holy fuck, man. Stop this motherfucker. He's crazy. Where's my piece? He ain't nothing. Take him out.
92, as a matter of fact, Gene came into my office, and he's usually in my office every month or so. And he was telling me, he says, I want you to raise me $2 million. And I said, for what? He said, well, I want to choke somebody out. I want to hurt them. I want to pull their fingers off and pull their eyes out and just take them apart like a butterfly.
But, Gene, it's your mom.
I said, who? and he said, Steven Seagal. And I said, you know, I've already had a little chat with him. And I said, you've already choked him out twice. He's not going to go again. So I said, let's just humiliate him. So that's when I got on the phone to Black Belt Magazine, and we did the film, the front cover. It's the highest selling front cover in martial arts history in 1992, called The Dirty Dozen. So I didn't want to make it just Gene against him or me against him, kind of bully thing. I said, not only can I kick your ass, I got 11 friends. That's why they call it The Dirty Dozen.
Oh,
and so Howard Jackson, Gene LaBelle, of course, some of the toughest, Jim Harrison, one of the toughest guys. He's just a small Gene LaBelle. He's just brutally tough. Roger Carpenter, Alan Steen, Howard Jackson, and myself. So I got the front cover, you know, and we said basically you just reach in a hat. If you get number 7, you get Bob Wall, and if you get number 2, you get Gene LaBelle, and if you get number 9, you get Howard Jackson, and so on down the line. And we'll fight you to the death, in the ring, for money, for charity, no charity, film, not film, you name it, with rules, no rules, to the knockout. And he didn't want any part of it. So in 98, I ran into him with Chuck Norris at a CBS function. And Chuck right away grabbed me and said, hey, you got to promise not to hurt Steven. So I'm not going to hurt him. You know, if he's at your house, I'm not going to disrespect you.
It's holy ground.
And but at any rate, long story short, the president of CBS and Byung-Yu, who had put the event on, came and asked me to come shake his hand. I said, nah, he's a pig. I won't bother him, but I'm not going to shake his hand. You know, long story. They got to Chuck. Chuck talked me into going and shake his hand. I go over to the table. He's got his bodyguards around him. And so Chuck says, Steve, this is Bob. And I put my hand out. He wouldn't shake it. And so then he said, you know, you've been talking about me and you don't know me, and one of us is going to have to leave if you don't apologize. And I said, well, tell you what, I'm not going to actually think you owe me an apology. And so then we walked away. And then he got up in a huff and stomped out to his limo. Howard Jackson went with him. So then Howard came up to me about 10 minutes later, and he says, hey, I got him all calmed down. He said, would you meet him in the corner? I said, yeah, but I'm going to take him way away because I'm going to hurt him. And so we went away about 200 feet as far as we can get away from the celebrities. And he came over and started the same crap. And I said, look, I got you on film. I got you on tape. I've got you in magazines and saying all this stuff. And you're a disrespectful punk. You want to fight me, come to my school. I said, let's do it right here, right now. So I stood on his foot and I jammed my forehead into his face and said, go for it. You start, I'll finish. And he cried like a little baby. He grabbed my hands, and Chuck and 200 people watched it. So there's plenty of witnesses if he wants to deny it. I'd sure like to see him try. But at any rate, that's what I do to punks. I stand on their foot and I jam my forehead in their face and say, you start, I'll finish. Let's go.
You know what? Combat radio has finally earned its name.
I know, really.
There's a lot of calling out going on here, and I like it.
But, you know, again, I don't respect people who are bullies. I don't respect people who rape women. I don't respect people who misuse their power. And the minimum you want to give your fellow martial artists is respect. And as Chuck's theory, if you don't have something good to say, don't say anything bad. My only feeling is when you've got somebody, a twit like Seagal, who's a bully, out doing his bully stuff, you know, and he's had many accusations of rape and molestation and so on. So the bottom line is that kind of person, in my mind, is a criminal, and they've got to be called out for it. I believe criminals belong in jail.
I know writers who've met with him, and this was early on in his heyday, and he, in the middle of one meeting, he said he got a phone call and he got up and got guns out of his safe and said, "The CIA just called. I need to get out of here." And it's like, go fuck yourself.
That's such a strange thing.
And then he said, "Okay, so this movie that you're going to write for me, at the end of it, let's set it in the Pride Parade in West Hollywood, and there'll be a sniper." And he keeps missing me, but he keeps hitting gay people, and people will love it because they're fags, and people. And it's like,
he's really talking like that.
Oh my god!
Wow.
You know, can I ask just a basic question here?
Yes, but before you do, I just want to paraphrase the conversation Chuck Norris must have had with you at that event, where I'm sure Chuck goes, "Listen, there's not going to be an Invasion USA 2 if you start a problem here, Bob. I want Code of Silence 2. It's a package deal with Invasion USA 2. Please don't do it."
I would just like to note that Spandex and Vaseline is the name of Ethan Detmeyer's biography. So.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.